NFL fans, please fasten your seatbelts and return your tray tables to their upright position because Captain Eric Crocker is taking us on the latest flight around the NFL in today's mock draft Monday. Welcome to Locked On NFL Draft.
Let's go.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of the Locked On NFL Draft Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And of course, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Tracy, at Ryan Tracy NFL on Twitter. You can also find me at Eric_Crocker on Twitter. And we want to thank you for making us your first listen of today. We did also want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the games start. And speaking of starting, we got the mock draft. It's Mock Draft Monday. I'm on the clock, and I went a different direction. You know, I listen to the fans. I listen to some of the things that they want for their teams. So this mock is a little different than anyone that I've done so far.
I like it. It's a fresh take. It's a fresh flight. And folks, I bring that up. Eric's fresh off of a plane. We're both going to be on a trip down to Dallas. You can watch us live on all the streaming platforms for the Locked On Network on draft night. Actually, that's nights. The whole time, the whole crew, the whole network, we're putting on a great show. I hope you will join us. We get there to lift off, and I got my table, my seatbelt's on. It's good because it starts out pretty smooth, right? So one, you have Aiden Hutchinson, the edge to the Jacksonville Jaguars, then come right back with Kayvon Thibodeau to the Lions. Then three, Houston Texans, Trayvon Walker. Bam, bam, bam. That's not all. We keep climbing. The Jets take us all the way up with the airplane theme here with Jermaine Johnson going for highest I've seen him yet. And I like the fit as well. And then we round it out again with the Giants in New York with Evan Neal, the OT from Alabama. 4 edges straight off the board. I mean, it's like hitting the afterburners. It's like Top Gun again, right? Like it's all edges all the time. What is your favorite pick of this group?
You know, I like all of them. Again, listening to the fans and looking at the rosters and seeing some of the things that they need. You know, we've mocked quarterback to the Detroit Lions at pick number 2 overall with Malik Willis. And I've gotten a lot of pushback from that. So I'm listening. And they're saying, hey, team needs to really address that defense. And they address the offensive line in the trenches. I'm really big on addressing the trenches this early in the draft. But it's like, all right, Kayvon Thibodeau, edge rusher out of Oregon. You're off the clock at pick 2. And then again, didn't stop there, Trayvon Walker. Now, there were some interesting stats I've heard as it pertains to Trayvon Walker out of Georgia. He was one of the worst. I wish I had the stats in front of me, see it right now. But in the sense of pass rush win rate, he was not very good at all. So I'm wondering if Trayvon Walker is more of a, you know what, he's an elite upside type guy with the ability. And, well, let's see if he's utilized in a different way, if we can get more production out of him. From that standpoint, I think that's why teams are probably going to be high on him, including Houston Texans, took a number 3 overall. And then Jermaine Johnson. He's climbed up ever since the Senior Bowl. He did a terrific job there. I mean, we were there to see him in person, how he looked, how he was bending during drills, the fluidness. And then, I mean, you know, just to kind of add on to what he did leading up to it. I mean, it was this film at Florida State that last year that got him to be the guy that's on the radar. And then he had a tremendous offseason to kind of take over the rest. And then I had the first offensive tackle go off the line. So, I mean, all 5 guys in the trenches with the New York Giants taking Evan Neal. This is a team that maybe would have taken edge here, but they were all gone. And I thought the same thing for New York Jets. I was looking at it. I'm like, man, only 1 edge rusher left. You know, is that edge rusher going to get past New York, who has another pick at 7? So I went edge there and then see what the New York Jets, what they get after with their second pick.
I like where you're going there, and I agree that is the question about Trayvon Walker, right? What is it? 10.1% pass rush win rate. That is ranked number 28 out of my top 30 pass rushers. And as I put all the production numbers together, you guys will see the actual draft guide from Rogue Analytics coming out this week. That's one of the criteria. It's interesting that you mentioned that because it just goes to show you specifically, again, that Trayvon Walker is a projection. You cannot take his film from Georgia and supplant it into, in this case, the Houston Texans roster and think that he A, has to play the same way or B, can be the same kind of production. So it is maybe of all these guys, maybe of the whole first round, the biggest kind of what are you going to get that you didn't see on the college film. So are you comfortable with that? In obviously in the top three, but you're pretty much banking on that he's going to make that switch, right?
I think that they're banking on that. Right. So, they're the team I believe that are going to really want that caliber of player. And they've had one before. Right. I mean, there's a guy named Clowney, Javon Clowney, that was drafted number 1 overall to Houston Texans. And he was a very high upside type guy. Never quite developed that pass rush ability, at least on a consistent basis. Still was a game wrecker. Did some really good things there. But just from a pure pass rush perspective, had all the traits, but it just never quite worked out to the extent of what they probably would have liked.
Yeah, I'm with you. You came back at 6 with a pick I really like, Malik Willis to the Panthers. That's one that I did last week as well, so I think we're eye to eye on that. Ahmad Gardner, Sauce, comes back, the cornerback from Cincy, to the Giants in their second pick. The Falcons come back and protect that offensive line and build that up a little bit with Ike Ekwonu from NC State. Another tackle right off the board behind Charles Cross from Mississippi State to the Seahawks. And then the Jets are back on the clock. And this is where Jameson Williams goes, wide receiver with the ACL from Alabama. That's probably the most intriguing thing for me. Do you think that that's a fit with what Wilson can do, or does he have to shift his game with that kind of speed at his ability to target that deeper than maybe we saw last season?
Well, if you look at Jameson Williams, right, where he worked the area, and then you look at what the New York Jets tried to do this offseason, what they tried to do, they were trying to trade for Tyreek Hill. So clearly they're letting us know, look, we want that speed guy. We want that dynamic guy. And I know a lot of people have, the little worries with Jameson Williams and the ACL and everything, but it sounds like everything is working out just fine. He's ahead of schedule, and we hear that a lot, but he's ahead of schedule. I think he's a guy that will be ready dang near when the season starts. Wouldn't be surprised if he's out there. So there are probably a lot of people, because they have that torn ACL in their head. He'll be ready shortly after that. I don't think there'll be any issues there. There were a couple other picks. I went here, Ahmad Sauce Gardner with the New York Giants. That was one where I kind of forced it a little bit and took best player available. I think this is a team that ideally would like to address the pass rush here. But again, no edge rushers on the board for them. So I went with Sauce Gardner, and that's me anticipating James Bradberry being cut, which if you listen in to the New York Giants folks, a lot of it is they don't believe that James Bradberry is going to be there. And he's a good corner, but it's going to end up being a cap casualty. The Seahawks got another little right there, a team that definitely could have addressed potentially cornerback, but they like those longer guys. So I was like, maybe they won't go with Derek Stingley. I was tempted to have Stingley go off the board there. I ended up going with offensive line. Can't go bad there, especially in the terrific offensive line class where a guy like Charles Cross falls to you.
Yeah, it's a pretty good lineup, and it sets up the next 10 picks to be pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, so, there are some teams that are about to be on the clock when we come up next. You got the Washington Commanders, the Vikings, the Texans, Ravens, and Eagles. But first, we definitely want to talk to you a little bit about BetOnline.net and how it is your number one source for all of your betting stats and sports information. Find all the latest sports development, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs, which the Los Angeles Lakers will not be playing in that, and the start of Major League Baseball, which, as you can see if you're watching on the YouTube channel right now, I got San Francisco Giants hat on. They're starting the season off 2-1. Let's go. All right, BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head over right now to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action going on over at BetOnline, where the games start. We want to thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And for your second listen of the day, you got Locked On 49ers or Locked On Chiefs with two hosts right here that man knows shows respectively. But they're coming at you on all our platforms, NFL, all episodes, 30 minutes or less, covering your favorite team and news around the league. So, all right, Ryan, let's get into it. Got my next 10 picks.
So a popular pick has been Jameson Williams at 11, but you already let him go. So you come back with Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, the wide receiver, to try to help out that offense. Derek Stingley to the Vikings at 12. The Houston Texans, their second pick goes Kyle Hamilton. I know you did that for John, the safety from Notre Dame. And then Baltimore Ravens, Jordan Davis. I don't think either of us can find a better spot to put him in terms of fit. I really like that one still. Yeah. And then the first of the Eagles pick, even after the trade, now Andrew Booth jumping up there. I like that. And that's the one that's most intriguing to me. What made you move him up, maybe more than some of the other corners we've seen go in the first round?
Yeah, I think if it's me, I really like Elam a lot. It feels like the vibe I'm getting, everything I'm watching, everything I'm seeing, that teams don't have Elam as high. And that's who I would have there. But Andrew Booth, terrific cornerback. He's a guy that has that versatile capability, being able to play off coverage, being able to play press coverage as well. Might be a little tight-hipped, but nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy, nothing that he can't work through. He shows all the ability to be able to play off. So if you can play off and turn around and do those things, you're solid there. Terrific athlete, especially when the ball's in the air. He attacks it like a receiver. So those were things I really liked about Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson.
Yeah, I happen to agree. He is a guy that's higher on my board than many. We'll get to that, folks. You can see all of our top fives as we go through the process here on social media for both each of our accounts as well as the Locked On NFL account. Check that out as well. We come back at 16. This is the New Orleans pick that had been moved around. This was formerly the Eagles. Now it's Kenny Pickett to the Saints from Pittsburgh into the Dome. We've talked about that before. Los Angeles Chargers come back with Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. The Eagles, their second pick, Drake London, the wide receiver from USC, who should be running his pro day here in a few days. Then Chris Olave back to the Saints. A couple of nice pickups to lift that offense a little bit. He is the wide receiver of Ohio State. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers end up with Desmond Ridder, a guy that you feel could probably move into that. I don't want to always go back to it. Tell me about Penning to the Chargers.
Well, if you watch the last game of the season, this was a must-win game for the LA Chargers. They need this game to get into the playoffs, and they could not block Mason Crosby. Now, Crosby, he is a terrific edge rusher. He is. I believe he led the NFL in pressures, but they gave their young quarterback zero chance. Now, they drafted offensive tackle last season or last draft, left tackle, so they're fine there, and he played tremendous. Slater out of Northwestern. But they got to figure out something at the right tackle position. And it was one of the few positions that they did not address during free agency. So that lets me know they are primed to really be aggressive with attacking the offensive tackle position in the draft. And I think if you have a guy like Trevor Penning be able to kind of fall to you at pick 17, I feel comfortable with him going there.
I like it. And for me, you hit the wide receivers about perfect, guys that can offer something to their team that maybe they're missing or they need to replenish. But for me, Desmond Ridder going to the Steelers. Now, we've heard all this talk about Kenny Pickett, and then it was Malik Willis, and now we heard Mike Tomlin talking about wanting, we'd love to get Malik, but he's not going to be there when we pick. And so he's pretty certain that. But you come back with the guy I think is probably right there, the best combination of able to step into a pro offense and has that smooth delivery that really looks good on getting the ball to his targets. What do you like about Ridder in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think that's a good fit. Again, the one thing about Pittsburgh, and really I think a lot of these teams have kind of set themselves up with this situation where a rookie quarterback does not have to come in and play right away. And I know Ridder, who is a little bit more seasoned, right? This is a guy that's been around the block a little bit over there at Cincinnati, like all-time leading passer there. He has this really big-time game. I think the ball comes out of his hand really good, nice little pop on his throws. Definitely more than enough athleticism to be able to play, make plays on the move, second reaction throws, and those type of things. You see what he did with Alec Pierce and the success that he had there. And you look at, Pittsburgh Steelers, you have terrific receivers. Deontay Johnson, love him. I think that's a guy that's going to work. But I think the guy that's the big winner here is probably Chase Claypool, big guy on the outside. And if you look at how Desmond Ridder was able to get the ball down the field to Alec Pierce, I think, seeing him go to Pittsburgh with Desmond Ridder, I think that's going to be a good match right there.
It makes a lot of sense. And you give them a chance to have a different kind of delivery. I like how tall he is in the pocket as well. I think that'll help some things move around. Nothing against the guys that they have. I know it's been a tremendous week end for them. Dwayne Haskins, it's a tragedy. And this, I think, I agree with you. I think this just makes that priority that much more. So get somebody that you feel could be with your franchise for a long time. I like that. Coming up next, they got the Patriots. We'll get into them. The Packers, Cardinals, Cowboys, and Bills. We'll round out the next 5, and we'll see what you did there.
But first, we definitely want to talk to you a little bit about Built Bar. All right, and have you tried the Puffs yet? If you haven't, you are missing out on one of the best Built Bars out there. The best tasting Built Bars, and not just best tasting Built Bars, one of the best tasting protein bars. All right, Puffs are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They are fluffy, they are marshmallowy, and they are not just a protein bar. They are a treat and covered with 100% real chocolate. The Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They are all so good, and they're going to be your new favorite. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, that includes the Puffs. 100% real chocolate. They are low in calorie, high in protein, and they replace any candy bar with these. All right, they are better, and typically a candy bar is anywhere between 200 to 300 calories. That is not good for you. And if you are someone that is into counting your macros, all right, go to built.com right now. Scroll down to their macros chart. You'll be blown away by what you see. All right, most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and the best part about it, 17 grams of protein. Compare that to any candy bar, which usually has about 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. It's not even close. All right, mint brownie, coconut almond, and they're always coming out with new flavors. They got white chocolate cookies and cream. They are all delicious, and they're coming out with new flavors all the time. If you can think of a flavor that you say, you know what, this might be good, well, they'll probably make it. And if they do, it'll be delicious. At Built Bar, their thing that they want to focus on the most is how does it taste. They want it to be good. They want to be delicious. So it could be a snack for you. And then they'll circle back around and make sure that they can make it healthy for you. I don't know how they do it, but they do it every time, and they do not miss. All right. If you want to make good on this offer, go to built.com right now. Use promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com.
Ooh, as we head into the stretch here, we get into your picks for the Patriots. Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver for Penn State, come back with the Green Bay Packers. Also sticking with wide receiver, your guy Treylon Burks, up to them from Arkansas. Arizona Cardinals go inside pass rusher with Devontae Wyatt. Cowboys come back with Kenyon Green, interior offensive lineman. Really like his versatility as well. It might be a disservice calling him an interior offensive lineman. And then Kyrie Elam, the guy you talked about before, at corner to the Buffalo Bills. I really like that fit as well. But for me, the one that stands out is Treylon Burks as the new multi-weapon for Aaron Rodgers. Is that what you like most about that pairing?
Yeah, and I think, if you look at Devontae Adams and what made him so good, it was really his ability to track the ball in and get on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. Now, that connection is something that took multiple years, right? It's not like Devontae Adams just hit the ground running, a guy that was so productive at Fresno State. But just the ability to win at the catch point and know that, hey, I don't have to create the most separation, although he could. But he didn't have to because his quarterback was going to put it in the right position. And when you look at Treylon Burks and some of the things that he does well, he is terrific at the catch point. He is great after the catch. Where he lacks a little bit, maybe creating that separation and being consistent with it. But having a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who has pinpoint accuracy, is going to put the ball where only his receiver can get it. I think that helps a young developing receiver like Treylon Burks out a lot out of Arkansas.
Now, tell me the fit. Elam to the Bills in the system that they run. What do you like about him, the corner from Florida?
Well, I think they could do a lot more man stuff. All right, this is a team that we've seen play some off cover 4, things like that. They've been more than willing to put Tre'Davious White in man coverage on guys, but I think Elam can kind of match that. Matter of fact, they have very similar skill sets. I think Elam is a guy who moves extremely well. He has all the size that you need, and then also you see, what he's able to do at the combine, being able to run in the 4.3s. I think all those things are going to be intriguing for teams. A very smooth cornerback, especially for his size. So I like the fit. Maybe they do a little bit more man with him, but who wouldn't mind playing more man? I think it was hard just a little bit to play as much man when you had Levi Wallace out there, who's solid, but I don't think he's the same level prospect as Kyrie Elam.
Fair enough. And he certainly wasn't coming out. So he's developed into a player, but this is banking on the future. At 26, the Tennessee Titans go Zion Johnson, the I think guard specifically, but he can play center, from Boston College. We saw him at the Senior Bowl as well. Tyler Linderbaum to the Buccaneers on the interior as well. Then the Green Bay Packers are back on the board, and the previous pick, I think, gives them the option to take David Ojabo here, put him on the board, knowing that he's going to be a little bit delayed in his development. Then you come back with the Chiefs back-to-back with Lewis Cine, the hard-hitting safety from Georgia, and George Karlaftis, the power edge from Purdue. I'm going to ignore the Kansas City ones for now. You can tell me later. Ojabo, is this, if it's not a team like the Packers that have 2 first-round picks, is this somebody that you think has to go later, maybe in the second round?
I think ideally you do want that value of someone who has tremendous upside. I mean, this is a guy who, if not for injury, would he be going past the 15th pick in this draft? Probably not, because he has just that much ability and people value the pass rush so much. So I felt like, this was a good spot. Got him going there. Obviously, they have Gary out there. He's doing a really good job with his development out of Michigan. But to be able to put somebody on the other side with Ojabo, after losing one of the Smith brothers, I think that's going to be really good. And then when he comes in, finally, they still have Preston Smith as well. So, there is no need to where, Ojabo has to be an every down pass rusher. No, he could be a legit, third down guy who comes off the edge, and hey, just go get the quarterback. I know the injury, again, almost like Williams, is going to really concern people. But to me, this is a 6 to 7 month injury. Guys are pretty much recovering after that. Yep. When he got hurt kind of quote unquote perfect time for his recovery. I think he's a guy that'll be there come November and maybe be a factor come the playoffs for the Green Bay Packers.
I think he did a good job frustrating the Cincinnati Bengals. They'll be next on the clock here in a minute by taking Tyler Linderbaum, to the Bucks. I like that one. And tell me what you thought here about Cine and Karlaftis to the Chiefs.
Yeah, so gosh, Lewis Cine, this is a guy who I just dug a little bit deeper in his film, and to me, he's the best safety in this class. I mean, when you talk about a guy who has range, versatility, that swagger, that relentlessness, he has all of that. I mean, he's coming like a bat at a hill. He's like a missile coming down from too high, single high, running into ball carriers, doesn't care for his body. That's terrific. His ability to match receivers vertically, pushing routes, and not really panic at all because, by the way, I run 4.37. So he doesn't panic when guys are flying up the field. He gets in position, gets his head around, knocks the ball away. I think he closes tremendous on underneath passes, especially crossing routes as well. He's hard for people to get around. This is a guy, the more you watch him, the more it's like, wow, really good prospect. So Lewis Cine there, I mean, you're losing Tyrann Mathieu, still out there, a free agent right now. Maybe the door is open. I don't know. They did sign a safety as well with Justin Reed. But, man, with Lewis Cine, with his do-it-all capability, he's a guy that I really like there.
I dig that as well. I think that's a nice fit, and it actually shifts them away from what could be a little bit more
Daxton Hill, and maybe you could flip-flop these guys because Hill has more like nickel versatility as well. Maybe he can even play on the outside. So you could do a little bit more, especially if you already have 2 safeties. You got Thornhill there, and obviously, like I said, you got Justin Reed. So there's a chance you see maybe more of a Daxton Hill type guy go there. But just in the sense of like the order I have my safeties, I thought, man, being able to grab a guy like Cine at pick 29, I thought that was tremendous.
Yeah, and like I said, I like your fit. They like to play 3 safety sets, so it makes a lot of sense. They come back, last 2 picks. Cincinnati Bengals get Trent McDuffie to man their secondary for the cornerback from Washington, and the Lions come back with said Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan, as more of as a nickel, or do you like him at safety in what the Lions themselves need?
I think a versatile guy. Just a year ago, there was Javon Holland out of Oregon. I feel like him and Daxton Hill, they play very similar positions. But what did Miami Dolphins do with Javon Holland? Oh, let's play him at safety. Let's play him everywhere. I think you could do that with Daxton Hill. He could be a 2-high guy, single high guy, and he has that nickel added versatility to his game, which is tremendous. Like, he legit doesn't have to come off of the field. So he's the type of guy, I think he fits what you need, especially in safeties in today's day and age, being able to cover and have that ability. Daxton Hill, again, I thinking about it now, you could probably flip-flop Daxton Hill and Lewis Cine, and I think that would probably be better fits for those teams. So Cine going to the Lions and Daxton Hill going to Kansas City. But either way, I think those are two really good safeties for both teams.
Well, either way, you Lions fans got to be happy because you didn't get Matt Corral this week. So congratulations. Let us know what you do think in the YouTube comments. It's the easiest way to get it to us. But we can also listen to you on your Spotify reviews, your iTunes reviews. Hit us up at our YouTube channel, the whole 9 yards. You can put comments on anything, as well as our Twitter accounts. If you like this, hit Eric_Crocker, please. If you don't tag me.
All right, Ed, that's going to do it for this episode. Tomorrow, we'll be back. We're going to start diving into some more prospects. What are the prospects doing that we're not really talking as much about? Maybe some day 3 guys, some pass rushers, some offensive linemen, some defensive backs. We're going to get into all that and more. Keep it locked right here on Locked On NFL Draft. Peace.